Tonight, murder in a small town.
It's just a bad deal for our town.
Anaconda left reeling after a gunman takes 4 lives at a local watering hole. Plus, how did last night's flooding affect the Horse Gulch burn scar?
I'm Madeline Heath here in Canyon Ferry, and coming up, I'll tell you how significant rainfall in a short period of time has caused flooding on the Horse Gulch burn scar and closed down Jimtown Road.
And later, an update on Montana PBS.
Montana PBS, a popular television program many folks have come to know and love, is currently undergoing major federal funding cuts. I'm going to tell you what they're doing about it coming up.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening. Thanks for wrapping up the work week with KRTV on this Friday. I'm Tim McGonigal. First at 10, the southwestern Montana community of Anaconda is looking for answers after a man opened fire in a bar this morning, killing 4 people. MTN's Chet Lehman has the latest on this deadly situation.
I was like, if it's the Mike Brown I know, doesn't surprise me.
Mike Brown is the fugitive suspected in the mass shooting that left 4 people dead in Anaconda's Bar at 10:30 Friday morning.
I did see the gentleman that probably did the shooting. I watched him come out of his house with a rifle in his hand.
Sturgar works just down the street in another neighborhood bar. The neighborhood crowded with law enforcement from several counties, even the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. They continue to look for Brown. To those who knew him, they say he had his challenges. As for the shooting, that was a shock to all.
Never talked about doing something like this, so you can't really, there wasn't a red flag enough to, in my opinion, that would warrant, we should have got him off the streets before it happened.
Social media viral with posts about Brown, the victims, and the manhunt. As for Anaconda, this crime was personal.
I know everybody involved, and it's just a bad deal for our town.
The manhunt continues while the families of the 4 victims try to deal with their grief, a grief felt by the community as a whole.
The neighborhood's great. It's friendly. It's just a sad occurrence that happened this morning.
Several businesses in Anaconda closed today because of the shooting. Now the town must try to pick up the pieces. In Bozeman, Chet Lehman, MTN News.
After some strong thunderstorms with rain and some gusty winds here in Great Falls, we had a pretty pleasant end to the day. Looking live there from the at the Montana State Fair, temperatures today topped out at 85 degrees, pretty close to our average high of 87, just below that. And in Helena, we hit 82 today. We also had some showers and storms, and those continue to lift off to the north. And we're still looking at the potential for some heavy rain, some thunder and lightning for the high line, potentially some hail within some of those storms, but they will continue to track on off to the north. For Helena, we are drying out, and we'll look at temperatures falling into the 60s for tonight. But again, still looking at some of those heavier showers and thunderstorms for the high line. And going into our Saturday, we still have the risk of some scattered heavier showers and storms. I think that risk is a little bit lower than today, but there is still that chance if you get under one of those heavier showers, you could see a little bit of flooding. And then we'll actually start to see another system working into the area into early next week. That will once again bring an increased chance for showers and storms.
Well, back to the impact of storms that rolled through last night. Canyon Ferry saw a sudden strong downpour. Last evening, it caused destructive flooding near the Horse Gulch burn scar. MTN's Madeline Heath spoke to local agencies to learn more about the flooding impacts and what could be next.
It's been just over a year since the Horse Gulch fire, and in that time there have been 2 significant flooding events in the area. And you can see that power of water that ravaged through the area Thursday night, pressing down the grass and tearing down fences.
We didn't have lives at stake down there like we did the last year when the flood happened last time.
After a similar flood washed over the area in September of last year, local agencies were prepared for Thursday night's storm. The Bureau of Reclamation notified campers to evacuate the Riverside campground Thursday morning and provided refunds.
The base for the soil is basically not stable anymore, so when you get rain events like this, everything just seems to go with the water.
And go with the water it did. Burned trees, vegetation, and other debris scattered Jimtown Road and the Riverside campground.
As far up as you can see, all the way to the bottom of the ravine, is just traveled with the water.
The Lewis and Clark County Office of Emergency Management works with other agencies like local fire departments and law enforcement to ensure safety.
The storm intensified and we started being more certain that it would hit this area. We did work with all of our partners just to make sure people were aware. We were working on public messaging.
The area is expected to be susceptible to flooding for around 5 years, and with that in mind,
they will have some caution signs up, as there still might be some debris here and there on the road.
Autumn Ashdale says long-term they're hoping to get a grant to prevent this from happening again in the future.
Moving forward, they are planning to put in a grant application to help with flood mitigation measures for this particular area.
Reporting in Canyon Ferry, Madeline Heath, MTN News.
Montana Highway Patrol is welcoming new technology they have never had before. MTN's Ali Kaiser went to Boulder to speak with the colonel about how new body cams will be helpful to the law enforcement agency.
Body cameras are a valuable resource for large-scale and rural law enforcement agencies alike, and the Montana Highway Patrol has gotten body cameras for the very first time. Axon contractors with MHP are busy installing brand new camera systems into vehicles and connecting them to body cameras, which the over 250 MHP troopers have never worn before.
Everything that we do is geared towards better service to the public, and that's what this system delivers for us.
Colonel Kurt Sager, who leads MHP, says the body cameras will help his agency in multiple ways, like reducing the time it takes to write reports, getting evidence to prosecutors more efficiently.
If you're pursuing somebody on foot, having a body cam is the only way that you're going to capture footage there, because your car's not going to do it.
While the body cameras are new, MHP has had cameras in their cars for decades. Colonel Sager says there are several reasons MHP has not had body cameras until now, such as cost, but Sager also says their previous system was beginning to fail.
A little bit outdated. We were starting to have some failures on our cameras. They were breaking down.
In 2023, the Montana legislature granted MHP $4 million to implement the new system.
We incorporate it so that we can better serve the public. It's not something that we use because it's fancy and razoo.
The new car cameras will record from the front and the back of the vehicles.
I think the rear one will be nice.
Along with the inside of the back seat.
You really get as close to a full picture as you really can of a scene.
Getting the full picture of a scene is something the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office can attest to. They have had body cameras in their office for at least a decade, and all of their 14 deputies and their detention officers wear them.
Kind of adds a different layer when you could sit and watch what happened. It puts, visual context to what's in the words.
The Sheriff's Office replaced their camera system this year, which cost nearly $60,000 and is paid for by taxpayers.
Kind of takes the guesswork right out of it. You can watch the video and it will show you exactly what happened and what was said.
Colonel Sager says the rollout of the new system should be completed sometime in October. In Helena, I'm Ali Kaiser, MTN News.
A little over a week ago, the U.S. House voted to pass the Rescissions Act of 2025, which cut funding to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. So how's that affecting television here in Montana? MTN's Cassidy Powers met with Montana PBS.
Montana PBS, a name you've probably heard considering it's watched by around 250,000 Montanans, including 30,000 children, every week. But those shows you and your kids love, Sesame Street, Backroads in Montana, well, they could all be at risk due to recent federal funding cuts.
No one else is paying for it now. It is really every viewer, every member, everyone who benefits from those programs. We need every Montanan to step forward to continue this service.
Aaron Pruitt has been with Montana PBS for 31 years. As the director and general manager of Montana PBS, I asked Aaron to share what was going through his head on July 18th when the U.S. House voted to pass the Rescissions Act of 2025.
We always knew this was a possibility. We have been preparing for it, obviously, but hoping that it would not come to pass.
The Rescissions Act cancels $9.4 billion in previously approved government funding to the Department of State, the U.S. Agency for International International Development, or USAID, various related agencies, and the CPB, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, who provided Montana PBS with government funding.
Funding that we would have received here this fall in October, and for Montana PBS, that would have been $1.8 million.
That money made up nearly 20% of Montana PBS's annual funding. Aaron says due to the Rescissions Act, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting will be shutting down entirely, bringing additional concerns such as losing their music license and distribution technologies for national programs like Sesame Street, PBS NewsHour, and more.
It is going to be a different time for public media going forward, both radio and television.
In response to the Rescissions Act, the Friends of Montana PBS have launched a statewide emergency fundraising initiative, Bridging the Gap campaign. The goal? To raise the $1.8 million they've lost.
And we have received a generous $900,000 match from a group of donors that believe strongly and have believed strongly in Montana PBS for decades.
These anonymous donors offering half the fundraiser goal, matching dollar for dollar each contribution from the public until the full $1.8 million is raised.
It's a challenging moment for Montana PBS, but it's exciting as well. Even before we really started the big ask of members, a lot of people have come to us and said, how can I help?
If you want to help Montana PBS bridge the gap, visit our website. In Bozeman, Cassidy Powers, MTN News.
The Montana Department of Justice is eliminating the bureau that provided legal counsel for other state agencies. The Agency Legal Services Bureau represents state officials and agencies in civil cases like liability lawsuits and personnel issues. This week, department leaders sent letters to agencies that use the Bureau saying they were discontinuing its services August 22nd after a review of its viability and operational effectiveness. They said the department would assist agencies during the transition period. A spokesperson for Attorney General Austin Knutson's office said Knutson is continuing to look for ways to make government more efficient. He said the Bureau currently has 5 employees and DOJ will be retaining 2 of them. Governor Greg Gianforte's office told MTN they're working to make sure all legal needs are being met as agencies go through this transition. Advocates have officially submitted a proposed ballot initiative that seeks to go around the Citizens United decision and block corporations from spending money in Montana elections. This week, the Transparent Election Initiative unveiled the language of their constitutional amendment. It seeks to redefine the powers of artificial persons, including corporations, so they don't include political spending. Supporters said it's a new legal approach to getting around U.S. Supreme Court rulings that said Montana can't prevent corporations from spending in elections. The proposed amendment will now need to go to the Attorney General's office for a legal review. Former Montana Commissioner of Political Practices Jeff Mangan says the backers of the amendment have been working on the language for weeks and are confident it can clear that hurdle.
We certainly wanted to ensure that it was viable, that it passed all muster, that it was defendable, and that everyone could read it and understand it. And I think we're there, and we're looking forward to these next few months.
This is the second proposed constitutional initiative submitted this week after one seeking to ensure judicial elections remain nonpartisan. A third, proposing to limit increases in property assessments, is already cleared to gather signatures.
President Trump revealing new tariff rates for dozens of countries. I'm Maura Barrett. Coming up, what small business owners tell us about when they'll have to raise prices for consumers.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Welcome back. The White House revealing new tariff rates for more than 60 countries, and those are set to go into effect next week. Scripps News Group's business and tech correspondent Maura Barrett reports on how they could impact both businesses and consumers.
New tariffs announced by the Trump administration are lower than the rates the president threatened back in April, but they could still impact costs. Business owners we spoke with say they don't want to increase their prices, but many don't see another option.
Consumers and businesses bracing for the impact of President Trump's newly revealed tariffs, set to hit dozens of countries. The White House announcing tariff rates on trading partners ranging from 10 to 41%, set to take effect August 7th. A panel of small business owners telling us these new tariffs will mean higher prices for their customers.
If they are going to go into effect, then I'll have to raise my prices within the next 90 days because that will affect my next order.
My guess is within the next 30 to 60 days, people would start seeing price increases based on depending on what the tariff is and where it's impacted and what we're buying from those countries.
67%. Previous tariffs are already impacting consumers, according to new federal data out this week. One inflation gauge showing prices up 2.6% in June compared to a year ago. Procter & Gamble, the maker of products like Old Spice deodorant, Crest toothpaste, and Tide detergent, announcing this week it will raise prices on about a fourth of U.S. products. Some companies, like General Motors, say they've taken a hit from tariffs, but insist they won't raise prices for customers. That strategy can only last so long, says Sina Galera, a professor of supply chain management.
Now, they can eat the prices to some extent just to do good with their market, but your financial resources and cushion and inventory cushion, they all run out over time, and you'd have to think about passing that on.
And consumers appear to be readying for that. In June, consumers spent $500 million less on big-ticket items, prioritizing essentials instead.
A few notable U.S. trading partners were not included on the list released by the White House. The president announced a 90-day extension before higher tariffs go into place against Mexico, and a previous pause on tariffs on China are set to expire on August 12th. The White House is still negotiating a new deal with Beijing. Maura Barrett, Scripps News Group, Chicago.
Well, our Saturday is going to feature more showers and thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening. We'll take a closer look at when those will move through Great Falls on the future track right after this.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with meteorologist Eric Johnson.
Well, this evening we had a line of thunderstorms that moved across central Montana from southwest to northeast. This was the scene over near Armington Junction. This is about 5 miles to the south of Armington Junction. We had some cloud to ground lightning, but what you can really see there is that the landscape is very green for the early part of August. We've had ample moisture for a lot of central Montana. But with that has also come some strong to severe thunderstorms, and today we did have a little bit of hail over, this was near Buffalo, Montana in Fergus County, near 2-inch diameter hail with a severe thunderstorm that moved through. And looking at our radar now, we still have some flood advisories due to that very heavy rainfall we saw earlier in the day, especially over towards the Rocky Mountain front, and then also for parts of Fergus County. So we could still see some areas of flooding across those areas, so just take it slow. And we also have some strong to severe thunderstorms continuing to lift to the north into the high line with a lot of lightning. We could see some hail and gusty winds as well as some very heavy rain within those storms. And then a little further to the southwest, just a few showers around. Those will continue to move through Great Falls. So we're still going to see a pretty wet night across the area and a stormy night for the high line, but those storms should wrap up earlier than they did last night. And looking at the future track, here's 3 a.m. The storms are gone. We're looking at some clearing into the overnight. And then for Saturday afternoon, we'll see another round of showers and storms. Luckily, these storms will be moving fairly quickly, so we're not seeing as high of a risk for flooding. But of course, if you do get caught under one of those very heavy showers or storms, there still could be some localized flooding. And then here's Sunday. We're still going to see a few showers and storms developing, especially to the north of Great Falls, but I think it's going to be a mostly dry day for us and a nice break from the storms before we'll see another round of potentially some strong to severe thunderstorms to start out the work week on Monday. Now, some of our heavier totals going forward are going to be for the high line tonight, as we'll continue to see those showers and thunderstorms, and then also the next couple of days. North of Great Falls is really where we'll see some of the heavier activity. And we're also going to notice some gustier winds across the area heading through our Saturday. So here's Saturday afternoon. Rocky Mountain front, we're looking at gusts of 30 to 40 miles an hour. And then across the plains, we could see a few gusts getting as high as 30 miles per hour. So it's definitely going to be a breezy afternoon and evening across the area. Your temperature is pretty much the same as what we've been seeing the last few days. Hardly a change in our temperatures. Most areas into the upper 70s and low to mid 80s, which is slightly below average for this time of year. And again, we're still going to be tracking a few showers and storms, potentially as far south as Helena for our Saturday. Temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s. And then looking ahead to the rest of the weekend, we'll be looking at a nicer, sunnier day on Sunday. Temperatures into the upper 80s, just a slight chance of a shower, and then a much better chance for Monday. We are looking at the potential for more strong to severe storms, and then I think we'll finally catch a nice little break towards the middle to end of next week. By Wednesday, temperatures get pretty warm. We're into the upper 80s, and then we'll actually start to cool off towards the end of the week. And over in Helena, We do have about a 60% chance of some showers and storms tomorrow during the afternoon, evening. Then we'll have a dry and warm day on Sunday. Lots of sunshine in store before we see those storm chances ramping up again for Monday.